broadcast network, AfterBuzz TV. Over 20 million weekly downloads in over 150 countries, and your number one source for after-show entertainment. AfterBuzz TV, the destination for TV superfans. Producing aftershows for over 300 of your favorite TV shows. Interviewing celebrities and showrunners. And bringing you behind-the-scenes exclusives. All thanks to E! Entertainment's Maria Menounos, producer Kevin Undergaro, and internet leader Akamai. Now, let the buzz begin!
Hello, AfterBuzzers. Welcome to a new Spotlight On. My name is Sam Davidson. I'll be your host this evening. I have the amazingly hilarious Mr. Karan Soni here with me tonight.
Hi, America and internet everywhere.
Internet, iTunes, America, YouTube, SoundCloud. You guys can find us on all of those platforms. I am super excited to have Karan here with me tonight.
Yes, because we're old friends.
Yeah, we are old friends. I will never forget when I did improv with you, Karan, and I just knew you were really talented and funny when we did a scene and you popped up in the back seat from nowhere.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, we had an improv show. It was amazingly hilarious. If you guys don't recognize Karan, you should.
You should.
You should. He's been around for a few years now. We both are also USC alums.
That's right. Fight on.
Fight on. Any other USC alums out there, give us a fight on. So I just would like to talk tonight about how this all started, because I have known you since before you were famous.
Yeah. Well, famous in air quotes.
You're famous.
Okay.
You're famous.
Yeah. So first I was born.
Yeah. Let's talk about that. You were born not in America.
Not in America. I was born in India, New Delhi.
Shocking.
Shocking. How did I survive? I lived there for 18 years. I started doing theater my freshman year of high school. And it was because I was really bad at science, and so I was taking biology, physics, and chemistry.
Ew.
And I know I was so bad at all of them, but I was like a nerdy Indian student like everyone else, and I had a lot of pressure to like do the sciences, and so I was doing so badly. My teacher just had an intervention with my parents and was like, listen, he's not going to graduate if he takes all three of these classes. So either take 2 sciences and then take another class that's not science, because you're not going to graduate. And so the only thing that fit in my schedule was theater. So I very reluctantly took this theater class that ended up having to take it for 4 years. And the first year, I basically did nothing because the class was 15 or 16 eager girls who were just like dying to jump up and do every scene. They wanted to play like men, and they wanted to play all the roles. And it was just me and these like 3 other guys who had no interest in the class, and were just like, we're too dumb to be in the science class, so we're just going to take this class. And so we just sat in a corner, and I'm pretty sure for the whole first year, the only acting I did was she had us do object work. So she was like, imagine you're lifting different kinds of heavy objects. And then we had to like pantomime like lifting a box and something like that. And even that I hated. But that's all I did for a whole year in that class. And the girls just would like shoot their hand up and like do every scene and everything. And then the second year came around and we had to do our first play. And they pick the play, whatever, and then the play gets shot after you perform it and gets recorded and sent to England, and then they judge it there. It's supposed to be like an impartial system. Mm-hmm. So when the cast list for the play came out, none of us had to audition because we all had to be in it. It was part of our test, and so I ended up getting one of the lead parts just because there was just not enough guys in the class.
Yeah.
And I went to the teacher and I was like, I don't want to do this. Like, just give me one of the smaller things. And she was like, no, I can only have so many women play men. Like, we need to have some of the men play men. It's going to look really weird.
It's a gift from God.
Yeah. And so basically I did that play and I was really bad throughout the rehearsal process because my version of good acting at the time was just memorizing the lines. Mm-hmm. So I was like, if I can memorize the lines and be off book, then I win at acting. So like a week into rehearsals, I was fully off book for this 5-act play where I had like monologue after monologue.
So you are very smart.
And I wish I had that memory now because I'm really bad now. But yeah, and then I showed up to the rehearsal and I was just like just saying my lines like a robot, and it was awful. And the teacher just wanted to give me my space to like let me figure it out. And then she realized a month into it that it's never going to get better, because I just didn't understand that you're supposed to put emotion behind what you're saying. I was like, I'm saying the line, that's good acting, right? And so finally everyone was off book after a month. And you could just see, like, every time I came into the scene, it would just drag the energy down as a comedy. And so it was just so bad. And so one day she singled me out. She made me step in front of the whole class, and she just screamed at me for like 20 minutes and like let out her frustration and just said, you're going to make everyone else get a bad grade because you're so bad in this play and you're bringing everything down, and you don't listen. And she just went on and on. And I was feeling all these emotions. Like, it's never fun to be singled out, you know, in any class or anything, and be told that you're not good. And so I was feeling these like emotions. I was like really upset and angry. And then she's like, she just chewed me out for 20 minutes. People were laughing. And then she ended up being like, let's just go on with the play. And I was so angry, and said the lines from like the place of anger, and she was like, what was that? And I was like, what was what? And she's like,
I hate you.
I know. She was like, what was that? That was good. I was like, what? She's like, this. She's like, keep doing that. I was like, you want me to be angry? And she's like, yeah. I was like, oh, okay. So then,
you should have just told me that to begin with, right?
And then I just kind of, well, she was trying to like let me discover it. I was like, no, just give me the line reading at that point in my life. Anyways, so then I kind of started understanding. I was like, oh, this is the emotion. She wants me to like find this emotion, whatever. So then we had like a week of rehearsal left, and I was still like affected by what she had done, and I was not feeling confident. And then we did the play, and it went really well. And I was not very popular in high school up until that point. Like, I would get bullied all the time. And suddenly I did this play, and like everyone in the school had to attend, because like they were recording it. So they're like, we want laughs, like we want an audience. So everyone ended up watching it, and afterwards all the cool kids were like, what are you doing later today? They were like, come hang out with us. And I became cool overnight. So initially I just kept doing theater because I was like, this is my in with the cool people. Like, this is the thing that I do. And nothing has changed since then. Nothing has changed. So then I just kept doing it more and more, and I was really into it, but I never considered it like a career option. Also at that time, I didn't know I was going to come to college over here or what I was going to do. So I ended up going to USC, Fight On again. And I was just an undeclared major, and I was aiming towards the Marshall School of Business. And this was the first time in my life, since those 4 years, that I had not done any kind of theater. And I just suddenly started missing it so much. So I took 1 class, and then 2 classes, and 3 classes. And then by the end of my freshman year, I was like, okay, I think I have to do this. And so as a compromise, because my parents were not happy with it, I did a lot of film classes, because they were like, just produce, because that's better, just produce. But in their defense, like, even when I was in LA, I was like, I don't know how you make money doing this. Like, I don't know, like, what you do or how you do it. So if it was scary for me, it must have been like 10 times scarier for them, because it's just, they have no idea about this world and everything. So
and it must be hard, kind of like coming from like a completely different side of the world, coming here. And you know, I'm so proud of you, because like you've really started an amazing career for yourself.
Oh yeah, thanks.
And
I had a much stronger Indian accent before when I came, and people always ask me like, how did you get rid of it? And this is the true story, is I brought with me like DVDs of the OC because I was obsessed with the show, because they were the same year in high school that I was as the show was happening. So it was just this whole thing. And
me too, I remember. Yeah.
And so we just, we never used to get it on TV there. And so someone once brought the DVD, and it's this is just when I joined the cool kids group, and they were all talking about it. And I was like, I have to watch it. And I like watched it, and then we bought the other DVDs as they came out. And so I was obsessed with wanting to go to Orange County, not LA. And I applied to UC Irvine, and I didn't get in, even though I had really good grades, because they have less than a 1% international student acceptance rate, because it's a state school, so it should be for state students. And USC is highly like open to international students, because it's a private university. They love diversity, they love like all kinds of people. And I remember at the time being like, oh man, my life sucks, I didn't get into UC Irvine. I've gone to USC. But like online, I was like, oh, there's Newport Beach, there's like Laguna, there's like UC Irvine, and that was my dream place to go. But
that's amazing. I actually never knew that story. Let's talk talk about what I think. Let's see what you think. What your big break was, I think, which was Safety Not Guaranteed.
Yeah, oh, definitely. Yeah, I'd only done one other job before that, which is a TV movie for MTV.
Yeah, Worst Prom Ever.
Worst Prom
2011.
Ever. 2011, back in the day. Yeah, Safety Not Guaranteed. That was actually a huge, not just a break, it was like a defining moment in my life, just because I had ended up getting like a small agent before my junior year of college, just by sending my headshot out to 50 people, and like 3 people responded. And they had been nice enough that they had sent me on one audition almost every week for 2 years at that point.
That's pretty good.
Oh, a year and a half. It's very good for like just, small parts, but on real TV shows and stuff like that. And it was the same thing where like I just didn't understand how to audition. I was so nervous. I was not getting anything. And a whole year went by and I didn't book like a single job. And it was almost maybe like 50, 60 auditions. I probably had one call back, and I was like, wow, this is really hard, because you always hear about people saying it's really hard. But then when you experience it, you're like, wow, this is actually really hard. And my senior year, I started going into it, and people start, deciding to see what they want to do with the rest of their college life and what they want to do after college and all this stuff. And I started seriously thinking, like, I set this deadline for myself where I was like, if by the end of senior year, like, I don't at least book one job, or like have this overwhelming feeling of like I have to pursue this, then I'm just gonna apply for a different, like a normal job.
Right.
And I thought giving myself like 2 years of going on audition once a week was a pretty fair thing of like, look, I tried this for 2 whole years and I had a fair chance, and it just didn't work out. And then a few months after I set that deadline, I booked this Worst Prom Ever thing, and it was such a big thing because it was the first job I ever booked. But I only worked for like 3 days in New Orleans. And when I was there, it was like a TV movie, and I'm grateful for every job, but it's not exactly the best example of like how good jobs can be, because it was a very specific thing. And my first day, I didn't take my cell phone to set. I didn't take a book. I didn't take anything, because I'd never been on a set. I didn't know how much waiting was involved. And they called me in, and I didn't even have a trailer. I had a honey wagon, which is like a fourth of a trailer, next to a porta potty. And
so it was basically a porta potty.
It was a porta potty. And I waited for 15 hours, after which they said, yeah, we're not going to use you today. And 15 hours without a phone, without a book, without anything. And I remember just sitting in this like little prison trailer being like, what am I doing in my life? This is like not that fun. Anyway, so I finished that experience, and then I was so motivated after that I'm going to be not doing this anymore, because I was like, I just don't see the point, because now I've even booked a job and it didn't feel amazing.
Yeah, so that motivated you in a way to not pursue this.
Yeah, to not pursue it. So that's why Safety Not Guaranteed is so important, because once I got that, it was really like the first I needed it in my life, because at that point I was done.
Yeah.
Given up. And the deadline I had set was before I graduate, and I booked that movie a week before finals. And so, I mean, the timing was just, and I'd never said this out loud, but in my mind, it was something that went through my mind every day, all the time, where I was like, this is the deadline. This is kind of like putting it on the universe or whatever. I wanted some kind of sign, I guess, at that point. And so, of course, filming that movie was such a great experience. It was so collaborative. It was so fun. And everyone was great in it. And it just, I came back from doing that, and I ended up missing my graduation for it. And it just, everything about it just felt like, okay, I'm going to stick out for like a little bit longer than what I figured. Yeah.
And you made some like very good connections in that film with, comedians and writers, Aubrey Plaza, specifically Mark Duplass, Jake Johnson. Great.
Yeah. And all those people really like, they were all on the verge of becoming like who they are now. I really felt like we worked at a time when like they were just, on the verge of becoming like much bigger stars. And I remember Jake and I would constantly talk about the New Girl pilot, because he had just filmed it a few months ago, and it got picked up as in the middle of us shooting. And so for him, like really it was starting then. So it was really nice to get to know those people at that point in their career and stuff like that. And it was really nice to have mentors that, were older, because it's so hard to have people you can like fall back on, and we're all still friends, and it was a good experience for everyone. So it's awesome.
Yeah, I love that. I feel like it was one of the best first things, for you to do that you could do like built a great background for you. And then from then, you know, you had some TV spots on lots of different shows. You know,
I got to work with Chelsea Handler, Kiefer Sutherland. Yeah, it's great. Josh Gad on 1600 Penn, Jenna Elfman on Growing Up Fisher. Yeah, it's great. I love doing TV spots because you get to work with amazing actors for like a day or 2 days, and you're like, that was awesome.
Yeah, exactly. And you know, if you guys haven't noticed already, Karan is like one of the sweetest guys ever. So he, I think, you know, he's extremely talented, but you've been able to work with really great people and build your relationships off of that.
Yeah, it's really, I love doing TV. I love everything about it. But yeah, I did a lot of guest stars after that, which is normally the natural progression, I think, when you're starting out. If you look at any actor, like everyone's done like Law and Order or like something like that at some point, or like one of those things. And it's great because TV is like bread and butter for a lot of actors. It actually pays decently well, and it like keeps you going for like the next month and like the next month. It's very, I love doing guest spots
but then you landed Betas.
Yeah, that was my first pilot that I booked. I had auditioned for many pilots before that, and that process is awful. Like I'm sure people have maybe heard before. It's just a very competitive process. There's a lot of pilots out there, and they're all trying to fill these limited roles, and they only want these like 5-6 actors, and so then they're just scrambling to fill out like the rest of the roles, and no one really knows what they want. So I had tested for like a lot of pilots and gone for a lot of auditions, and then this one was the first one that I actually ended up getting after 7 auditions. It was like a long process, so 2.5 month process of going in like once a week for like 7 weeks. But it was so fun because it ended up getting picked up. So that's like the nicest thing, because you can film as many pilots as you want, but if it doesn't get picked up, it's kind of lost forever.
Yeah. And what was it like working, you know, with Amazon and like having it be on an online network as opposed to like an on broadcast television network?
When we were auditioning when I got the audition for that, it was during pilot season. So I was auditioning for like every big network and for pilots and everything. And then I got the audition for this. And at that time, I think only House of Cards had come out on Netflix. I don't even think Orange is the New Black had come out yet. It was coming out that summer. So it was such a new thing, which is crazy because it's, I think, 2 years ago. And now I feel like it's just changed completely so fast, where like, you know, everyone's just watching stuff online. But I was a little bit like skeptical because I just was skeptical. I was like, does this pay the same as like the other stuff?
Does
it does. Yeah. What they do is there's a thing called a actor's quote. You have to get compensated for the work. It's not fair otherwise.
Yeah. Of course.
But yeah, we did that pilot. We shot it, and it was really exciting because just 2 weeks after we shot it, it was up for people to see, which was really fast. And then a month after that, we got picked up. And that was, even at the time, I didn't realize what a big thing that was. It was so great. And everyone on it, like I'm really proud of that project. Everyone on it just really was so happy to be there and like excited, and everyone did a great job in their characters. So it was just a great job. Yeah.
Was it a similar experience with, of course, Other Space? You know, it was a very different experience. Betas was really fun. I mean, it was kind of one of the easiest jobs I've had now that I think about it, because it was really, we would shoot 3 episodes. We would shoot 3 weeks, and we would shoot 3 episodes, 1 a week. And then we'd have a week-long break, which was a hiatus week, which I figured was on every TV show. And now I've learned very fast that that's a luxury if you had that. So we had a hiatus week. And then after the hiatus week, we would fly to San Francisco and just like hang out and shoot like a couple of exterior shots, but like mainly just like hang out with the crew for a week. And we would take over an entire plane and fly up there. And it was so fun. And then we would come back, shoot like a few more episodes. And we shot in Culver Studios, which I loved that studio and it was great. And then we would have another break. And so it was just such a great job. It was so fun. And it was very relaxed. And Other Space is a different show because it's completely shot inside a soundstage. There's no locations because the concept is it's a bunch of people trapped inside a spaceship. So it's shot completely differently, and it's shot kind of The Office style. We had like the camera department from The Office do the show. And so what that basically means is you don't waste so much time setting up the shot. And so you get there and all the cameras are on handheld mode, and
they just go like, we do one quick rehearsal and then you just shoot for like 14-15 hours, and that allows for like a lot more improv, and every take is different. So you do 1 or 2 scripted, and then because the camera, you don't really have to set up the shots when it comes to comedy. And we had like really good writers on the show, and I thought the scripts were really funny, and I think with all improv, it always comes from the script. So it's not just you making up stuff out of nowhere. It's like, oh, they already wrote the scene and set up the situation. I'm just going to pick a different punchline for each take. And maybe one of the punchlines will be funnier than like what they, or whatever. And it's a very collaborative thing. It's not like the actors are just coming and throwing the script away and being like, we're going to be crazy and just improv a bunch of stuff, which is what normal improv is like, because you just take a suggestion and do it. It's very much like in the structure of like the script and what the writers have already given us. And so Paul understands that too. And he's not precious of the writing of the script of anything. And so even the audition process for that show, when we were auditioning for him, he made me do the scenes once, and then he just got up from his seat and like grabbed my sides and took them away, and he's like, let's just improv a little bit. And he would throw me like situations and I would react as the character. And that's what we did on the show too. We would do 1 or 2 scripted takes, and then they would just let us do whatever we wanted. So it was really fun.
I love it. I've watched it twice through. It's pretty amazing, and we will hopefully find out about season 2 very soon.
Very soon, in a few days, I think, maybe, or maybe a few weeks.
And real quick, I just want to touch upon a few of the other projects that you have coming up, which are big. One of which is on your T-shirt.
Yes, Deadpool Vancouver. That's not what the movie's called. It's called Deadpool.
Yes, we can't talk much about it yet.
Yeah, I will just say that it's Deadpool based on the Marvel character Deadpool, played by Ryan Reynolds. He's part of the X-Men family. The comic, for people who are fans of the comic, I think they're gonna love the movie. I didn't know too much about the comic, and then they sent me some of them and I read it. It's very gritty, it's rated R, it's very bloody and fun, and Ryan Reynolds is amazing as the main character. He really is fully committed to the character, and I'm so excited. It comes out February 12th.
That's amazing. I can't wait. And also, let's talk for a second about Goosebumps for a moment.
Goosebumps. Yeah, did you read those books?
Of course I did.
Yeah, me too. I think that was like one of the first books I ever read was Goosebumps. Yeah, it's really, really fun. Jack Black plays R.L. Stine, and they found, I don't want to spoil the movie, but they found a concept wherein they've put most of the iconic books and monsters into the one movie. They figured out like this plot way where they can do that, and it's just like a big fun movie. I'm a small part of it, but I was just so happy to be just a part of it, because I've never been a part of something that I was a fan of as a kid, and I can't. R.L. Stine was there while I was there. It was just crazy. It was amazing.
That's so cool.
I think that comes out in October.
Yes, and one last thing I would like to plug for you, Karan, is Blunt Talk with Patrick Stewart.
Oh gosh, yes, you're like my manager, publicist, agent, all rolled in one.
I'm obsessed with you. I love you. You know I love you.
Yeah, Blunt Talk with Sir Patrick Stewart. Just kidding. No, I said Sir for like the first 2 weeks, and then by the end of the second week, I was like, oh, Patrick, can you help me run these lines really fast? But yeah, it's created by Jonathan Ames, who created the show Bored to Death, produced by Seth MacFarlane. It's basically a 30-minute funny version of The Newsroom. So Patrick Stewart kind of plays a riff of Piers Morgan. So he's a British cable news anchor on American TV, and the whole show is about his like incompetent news staff. I play one of the writers on the show, and how they're kind of dealing with his everyday like him failing and then them failing, and it's really, really funny. We have great guest stars: Elizabeth Shue, Jason Schwartzman, Ed Begley Jr., Richard Lewis. It's just a spoils of richest cast. And then Jackie Weaver plays my love interest in the show. She is 68 years old, and we have to make out a lot and with tongue. So tune in for that.
If anything, tune in for that. It'll be coming out sometime in August on Starz.
Yeah, on Starz,
which is amazing. Okay, why don't you tell our awesome AfterBuzzers that are watching where we can find you on the interweb?
On the interweb, on Twitter at it's Karan Soni, ITSKARANSONI, and same handle for Instagram.
Awesome. And thank you guys so much for tuning in. You can find me, your host, Sam Davidson, on Twitter and Instagram at SamD43 and online at SamDavidsonEntertainment.com. Don't forget to follow AfterBuzz TV at AfterBuzz TV on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, SoundCloud, the works. Thank you guys so much for tuning in.
That was so impressive, you guys.
I know. Wow.
That was really good.
That came out fast.
Yeah.
I think I was possessed by the AfterBuzz gods, aka Maria Menounos. Anyways, thank you guys so much for watching, and make sure to catch up with Karan. Follow him. He he is amazing. He's a lot of stuff coming up, and we will see you next time.
From executive producers Maria Menounos, Kevin Undergaro, Phil Svitek, and the entire AfterBuzz TV staff, we would like to thank you for listening to the AfterBuzz TV network. To watch or listen to other after shows and post comments or questions, be sure to visit AfterBuzzTV.com. I'm Sir Richard Wentworth, and this has been a presentation of AfterBuzz TV.
Buzz you later.
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of AfterBuzz TV or its owners or principals.